Thank you. Good morning. We'll call the meeting of the Arkansas State Highway Commission to order. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum for the purpose of conducting business with all commissioners present. First, I'd like to welcome everyone attending the Commission's first meeting of 2023, both in person and via live stream. We appreciate everyone's interest and support of the Arkansas Highway Transportation System. My name's Alec Farmer. I'm from Jonesboro, and I'll be serving as the Commission Chairman for the next 2 years. And just let me say it's a privilege and an honor to serve in this role. I look forward to helping ensure RDOT's continued success and leadership in delivering a safe and efficient highway transportation system that connects Arkansans to each other and the rest of the country. Before we go any further, I'd like to extend a special welcome to our newest commissioner, David Hake from Texarkana. Commissioner Hake was appointed by Governor Sarah Sanders as the 4th Congressional District designee, taking the place of Robert Moore Jr., whose term ended last month. Well, we look forward to working with you, and would you like to say anything?
I'm new, so I'm going to be quiet.
Thank you. We're happy to have you with us. You know you'll be a great addition to the commission. Let me remind the commissioners and anyone who may be presenting today that remember to turn on your microphone when you speak so everybody here and on live stream can hear you. First on the agenda is consideration of December 7th, 2022 meeting minutes. Commissioner, I believe you all have had time to review the minutes, and do we have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
Got a motion. Do I hear a second? Got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to agenda item 2, consideration of the minute orders. As has been practiced in the past couple of years, I would like to entertain a motion to continue using electronic signatures for signing the minute orders. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion? Do I hear a second? Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Dave Parker will read a short description of each minute order, and if any of you have questions or comments as we go through the list, please ask to be recognized, and we'll stop and try to answer your question.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minute order 1 simply approves the actions of the Purchasing Committee awards. Minute order 2, authorization to make payment to AASHTO, the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, for the 2023 membership dues. Minute order 3, this minute order gives approval to make payment to participate in the AASHTO Engineering Technical Service programs. Minute order 4, found on page 40, authorization to make payment for the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation, the contribution for 2023. Minute order 5, this gives authority to request proposals, select a consulting firm, or enter into necessary agreements to perform construction, engineering, and inspection services for the calendar years 2024 through 2026, and there is an option to extend through the year 2028. Minute order 6, authorization to enter into agreement for on-call service contracts and agreements with qualified consultants and contractors for the Federal Aid Emergency Relief Program.
Back on 5, is there, I saw that option for 2 years. Isn't there always an option for 2 years? I mean, if you got a contract and you just want to renew it, you just renew it. That seemed kind of redundant. I was just wondering.
We're just making sure the commission approves us to continue 2 more years after have that option.
Well, I know what it means, but I'm just, that's fine. I just thought it, and then if you want to renew it 2 more years, you can do it and keep going if you bring it back here.
Yes, but anyway,
Yeah, that's fine. It just seemed kind of redundant. I just was curious about it.
okay.
Thank you.
Minute Order 7, this minute order allows us to seek out and advertise for and eventually enter into agreements with as-needed on-call engineering services for local federal aid projects. To also select consultant engineering firms qualified to provide planning, design, environmental, right-of-way, and inspection services. Minute Order 8, found on page 46. This minute order gives us approval to extend the existing data collection contract for 2 years. Minute Order 9, authorization to engage the services of a qualified consultant to update the Arkansas travel demand model. Minute Order 10, this minute order out of District 6 here in Pulaski County, calling for the adoption of Highway 70 Broadway Street study for use as a planning guide for future improvements to the Highway 70 corridor. Minute Order 11, this is out of White County, District 5, authorization to identify a location for the future White County Area Headquarters facility, to acquire the property, and to construct a new facility as funds become available. Just a note that the current facility in Bald Knob was built in 1965. Minute Order 12, very similar. We go to Perry County, District 8. Perry County is looking also to acquire land and build a new area headquarters facility as funds become available. Their current facility was constructed in 1959. Minute Order 13. This minute order allows us to transfer a highway right-of-way in Lafayette County, commonly known as the Old Lafayette County Rest Area, to the city of Stamps, and they will take over from there. Minute Order 14, Benton County. This minute order calls for the transfer of land from capital asset to United States Forest Service, Department of Agriculture, as mitigation land for the forest lands acquired for the construction project. Minute Order 15, Crawford County. This minute order calls for the removal of Highway 819 Section 1 from the state maintenance system. Minute Order 16, found on page 112. This minute order deals with Conway County authorization to partner with local officials, the Economic Development Commission, for improvements to Highway 113.
Director, I just wanted to clarify that we're working in conjunction with the Arkansas Department of Commerce on this project. and
That's correct.
Following in their lead on this.
Yes, we're working as a partner, but there's many other organizations at the table to work through this, including the Arkansas Economic Development Commission or Department of Commerce, along with the Forestry Service and counties in that area. We're just one of many the partners that are coming together.
Okay, thank you.
Minute Order 17, this calls for the authorization to partner with the City of Van Buren to widen Highway 59 from Pointer Trail to McKibben Street. This is an improvement project. Minute Order 18 out of District 4, Washington County. This calls for the partnering between RDOT and the City of West Fork to replace the West Fork White River Bridge on Highway 170. Minute Order 19, District 9, back to Benton County. This minute order calls for the authorization to partner with the City of Bentonville for the purpose of constructing a new Interstate 49 interchange as the future extension of Northeast J Street. Minute Order 20. This minute order deals with multiple counties. It calls for the naming the U.S. Highway 167 corridor from U.S. Highway 82 in El Dorado to Interstate 530 in Saline County as the Madison-Murphy Highway. And finally, Minute Order 21 simply confirms that opening bids will be taken at the March 1st letting. That is it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 3, we'll have department staff provide an update on various subjects of interest. First up, I'd like to recognize our Chief Financial Officer, Patrick Patton, to report on the state highway revenue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I like not a lot of questions, so. No, welcome to the commission. Starting out, we'll start out with our, this is our January report. The first slide is year over year, January to January. As you see, right now we're down $600,000 in motor fuel. Registration is level, permits and penalties are level, and other are level, which gets me to what our traditional highway revenues are, is motor fuel, the first 4 columns, motor fuel registration, permits and penalties, and other. Overall, those are down 2% or almost $400,000. Natural gas severance continues to be strong. It's up 17.7 million. Overall, our revenues compared to last January are 19.6 million, or 7.1% above. Just as a reminder, just real quick, the other category includes driver search fees, driver monitoring fees, royalties for mineral rights, and any miscellaneous other income we may get. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody who might want to know. The next slide is for budgeted versus actual. As you can see, it's pretty flat once again until you get over to the natural gas severance tax. Continues to be strong. When we did the budget for natural gas severance, my crystal ball did not anticipate it continuing to be strong, so we kind of discounted it a little bit to be conservative, to be able to budget correctly. It continues to be strong, which is a good thing, and we'll utilize the funds as we need going forward. Overall, budget versus actual, we're 25 million above, 9.2% above. Next, we'll look at our Act 416 January to January comparison. Everything's flat, 1 million above for motor fuel. Electric hybrid fees are down just a little bit. The casino tax, once again, will come in at the end of June. It comes in the last day of the fiscal year. That's anticipated to be $35 million. So overall, Act 416 revenue is 0.7 or 700,000 or 1.9% above. The next slide, the same thing. Everything's level. Motor fuel, that's the 35.9 million for this year, this January, consists of 19.5 million for gas and 16.4 million for diesel in the category for the revenue. Overall, we're 700,000 or 1.9% above budget. Moving on to consumption. Consumption's down compared to January last year, 13.9 million gallons down in gasoline, 1.3 million gallons in diesel. Alternative fuels came out even. So overall, 15.2 million gallons overall consumption is down 1.1%. If you look at it on a 12-month comparison, a rolling 12-month comparison,
Patrick,
Yes.
excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Before you get into the numbers, would you remind everybody the difference between what the difference between the previous 12 months and the current 12 months is?
yes, the slide that I just went over is January to January, just 1 month to 1 month through the fiscal year. The next slide is the rolling 12 months. So what you'll have is we'll continue to roll our 12 months. So we're to be what? You caught me. December to
Sorry.
January. No, you're good. December through November to January, and then the previous will be December to November to the previous January. So it's a rolling 12 months, and it's an overall total that varies a little bit from the month to month comparison. And this captures where we are down over the year compared to the whole previous year, and overall it's 1.72% down in consumption. That's 26 million gallons in gas, 12.7 down in million gallons in diesel, and overall it's 33.8 million gallons, or down 1.72%. Then moving on to the half-cent sales tax, we continue to be strong this year. Every month so far has been strong. We're 3.1 million above the projection of DF&A. That projected net is projected by DF&A every year. We continue to be over. We continue to collect over what DF&A projects. For the year so far, it's 18.4 million, or 12.97% above DF&A's projections. If you look at it from the inception, 10-year inception of the program, you can see the projected net by DF&A was 1.84 billion. Actual receipts has been almost 1.9 billion. Variance of 51 or 57.1 million, or 3.1% above DF&A's projections over the program itself. Is there any other questions, clarifications, definitions, anything?
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Okay. As we usually do, I'll turn the remainder of the meeting over to Director Tudor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Patrick, for that update. Now I'd like to ask Kevin Thornton, our Assistant Chief of Administration, to come up and give you an update on federal highway and transit issues.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'd like to start off this morning by giving you an update on 3 of our grant applications. The 3 grant applications are for the National Significant Multimodal Freight and Highway Projects, otherwise referred to as InfraGrants, also the National Infrastructure Project Assistance, or MEGA grants, and the Rural Surface Transportation, or RURAL grant application. If you'll remember, there was an efficiency initiative with the U.S. Department of Transportation that combined these 3 grant programs into a single solicitation referred to as the Multimodal Project Discretionary Grant Opportunity, or MPDG. Now, since your last commission meeting, the U.S. Department of Transportation has now announced the awards for all 3 of these programs. As a reminder, it was determined that our best candidate project, based on merit criteria assessment, potential grant award amount, was construction of future Interstate 49 between Highway 22 and Interstate 40 in Crawford and Sebastian counties. This project will include the new Interstate 49 bridge over the Arkansas River. This project was submitted for all 3 grant programs, Infra, Mega, and Rural. Our project was not selected for any grant award. We will attend a debriefing with the U.S. Department of Transportation regarding each grant program. We will then use this information to prepare future applications, since the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act has many upcoming grant opportunities. Now an update on the federal funding. Shortly after your last commission meeting in December, Congress and the President were able to agree on an appropriation or spending bill for federal fiscal year 2023. The appropriations bill fully funds the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act until September 30th of 2023. This will allow us to continue to deliver the projects that are funded by the IIJA. We are certainly pleased that Congress and the President have been able to reach an agreement on spending levels for 2023. Now, in other good news, enactment of the appropriations bill also includes additional community project funding for Arkansas. This table shows the projects that have received the additional community project funding in this year's appropriation bill. It also notes the senator or congressman who requested the funds. A total of $42.6 million was included for Arkansas. The funding was provided for the following projects. $5 million for future Interstate 49 was requested by Congressman Westerman. $6.4 million for future Interstate 57 requested by Senator Bozeman and Congressman Crawford. $6.4 million for Highway 60 resiliency improvements near Conway by Senator Bozeman. $11.4 million for U.S. Highway 270 widening in Garland County by Senator Bozeman and Congressman Westerman. $6.4 million for U.S. 412 by Senator Bozeman and Congressman Crawford. And finally, $7 million for the XNA Access Road by Senator Bozeman and Congressman Womack. And please don't forget that this is the second year that Congress has elected to include this community project funding in the appropriations bill. The community project funding provided in 2023 combined with the funding from 2022 totals $101.6 million for Arkansas. We are grateful to Senator Bozeman, Congressman Crawford, Congressman Westerman, and Congressman Womack for the additional funding to support these important projects. Director Tudor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, and I'd like to say thank you to Jean Higginbotham and Janet Rossi for being here today. They're representing Congressman Westerman, and please let him know how appreciative we are for this funding. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kevin, for a good report. Next on the agenda is a report on the efficiency review recommendation implementation. During the General Assembly legislative session, the Highway Commission Review and Advisory Subcommittee, or HCRAS, does not meet. They meet out, when the session's not going on, but we're continuing to submit our monthly progress reports to the committee. And today I'll just say that we've submitted one for January and February, and one of the main things that we're able to say that we have accomplished in implementing these recommendations is we are currently in-house testing what we're calling GovQA. We're gonna come up with a better, catchier name than that, but that's one thing we're looking at. What it'll do is it'll standardize how we bring in requests for information or any question from the public. Right now, each division, each district kind of does their own thing, but we're going to standardize that and make it the same across the department so we're a little bit more efficient in those requests for information. We're testing that right now, and we'll be rolling that out later this year, but we've made some progress with that. So that was one of the big things in our implementation of these recommendations. As you'll remember, part of the recommendations in the law that put that into place required that the Office of Inspector General from the state of Arkansas do a process review of the department annually, along with looking at how we're implementing these 13 recommendations. And so as of to date, we have had 12 meetings with different divisions that they're focusing on this year. We've submitted a total of 385 documents. The first report to the Arkansas Legislative Council is due on October 1st, 2023. So a lot of work going into helping OIG prepare this first report. Our own internal audit staff is helping to coordinate this as well, but it's quite an effort, but we're excited about a good report to the legislature in October. Next, I would like to give you just a brief update on what's going on down at the Capitol in this 94th General Assembly. It's been interesting, and thank goodness, highways has been pretty mild as far as it's been an easy session for RDOT and highways. Just so you'll know, there's been some dates that have moved. All bills filing deadline on March 7th has been moved to April 4th, and they've extended the entire session from March 10th to April 7th. So that's bought some time on different legislation. They will not be in session during spring break, which is March 16th through March 29th. And I'll just give you a brief little update on where we're at on our legislative package. As far as our retirement board membership and technical changes to the code, that has made it all the way through, and it's on the governor's desk to be signed. Providing a housing stipend for our engineering interns, that's made it through the House, and then the next step will be to go through the Senate Transportation Committee and then to a vote of the Senate. So that hasn't been scheduled yet, but we're watching that closely. There was a little bit of a miscommunication about what that exactly meant, and so interesting enough, the House, the first vote on that bill, it failed. And then but then there was a lot of questions. People didn't really understand what it was about. And when we were able to clarify what this bill would do, then we were able to get a positive vote from the House. So that was good. Let's see, our bill that will provide a tool allowance for our carpenter position has passed out of the House, and it's sent to the Senate, where it'll be heard in committee when they schedule that. And then to allow a concealed carry with an enhanced concealed carry license on department property. I actually went down to the Capitol yesterday and testified for that bill, and Senator Missy Irvin presented it. I spoke just a few words on it. It passed through committee with no questions, no problem there. So we'll see how that goes as we move through the session. Noticeably absent on this list is our legislation that we are wanting to extend our pilot program for our construction manager, general contractor, alternative delivery method. That's because we've been working very closely with our contracting industry to craft the language in a way that they can support. And we finally got to that point about a week ago. We're asking the Bureau of Legislative Research to put that language into a bill form, and then we'll be meeting with, we have 2 legislators that have agreed to carry this legislation, but before they do, we're going to have a meeting with them and the contracting leaders from the contracting industry, just so everyone's on the same page and understands what we're trying to do, and there not be any surprises. So as we move through, probably at your next commission meeting, I'll have a good update on that. We're going to give you an update on our January bid letting now. I've asked Jared Wiley, our Assistant Chief Engineer of Planning, to walk you through the major projects that were let to contract in January.
Thank you, Director. I'm pleased to report to you today that our January bid letting was one of our largest lettings in history. We awarded 56 projects for nearly $250 million. These projects include 21 highway projects, 6 county projects, and 29 city projects. Up on the screen, you'll see a list of the major projects that were awarded in the letting, and I would like to just run through some of those with you and talk about them. The largest project that we awarded last month was a $94 million reconstruction project that will span 8 miles on Interstate 55 adjacent to Osceola. This project will take about 3 years to complete. The next largest project awarded was a widening and new location project in Monticello. This is a partnering project with Monticello and Drew County. We've been working with those entities for a couple years to get this project going. Wanted to note that in 2020, the department was awarded a $4 million build grant to help us fund this project, so some success there. The construction consists of widening an existing city street and extending it north to Highway 278 as shown on the screen, and it includes a railroad overpass. Next on the list is an $18 million pavement preservation project on Interstate 30 southwest of Arkadelphia. I wanted to let you know that this project will be undertaken at night to minimize impacts to the traveling public. The letting also included a 20-mile repaving project on the Highway 71 corridor in the vicinity of Waldron. Another pavement preservation project will soon be underway on Highway 67. This project is north of Cabot in Lonoke County. This is an interim improvement for this stretch of Highway 67. Once the widening is completed in Cabot, we plan to reconstruct this segment of highway. Pavement preservation work will also soon be underway in Craighead County. This $3.8 million project will resurface the heavily traveled Highway 49 corridor in Jonesboro. Sebastian County will see improvements along Highway 22 between Bloomer and the Franklin County line. This pavement preservation project will be completed this summer. It's a 4-mile project there. In Craighead County, additional work is underway on Interstate 555 and Highway 63. This project continues the progress we've made in pavement preservation on the Interstate 555 corridor, excuse me. Yeah, triple nickel, yes sir. Couple more, moving back to Lonoke County, 5 miles of Highway 89 south of Cabot will be repaved this summer. And the final project I wanted to mention is a 1-mile resurfacing project in the heart of Jonesboro. This overlay will be completed this summer. Looking ahead, 73 projects are advertised for our March 1st letting, so next week we'll take bids on those. Predominantly pavement and bridge preservation projects are in that letting. Total estimated cost of those projects is $215 million. Director Tudor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Jared. Any questions about the letting?
Mr. Wiley, are you seeing cost increases in these bid lettings, significant cost increases because of inflation or any other reasons? What's your take on all that?
Yes, sir. We track that closely, and last year we did see quite a bit of cost escalation. We were surprised in January to see some of those payment costs come down, and so it was a pleasant surprise. So we're hoping to see that continue in March. We've done some things to help insulate the contractors from some of those cost escalations by indexing fuel and other items, so we've seen that help us as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
You bet. Yes, sir.
Jared, would you refresh my memory a little bit on the construction manager general contractor method, and that they call it a pilot program. So are we limited to the number of projects that we can execute under that method, or is it a certain amount, or?
Can I address that?
Yeah.
Because it's
Absolutely.
a great lead-in
It's
for
the
the
next on
next
the
item.
agenda, yes.
It's a great lead-in, Vice Chairman Taldo. I appreciate that. So,
Don't mention it.
Thank you, Jared. So the construction manager general contractor alternative delivery method is a pilot program right now. And it will expire, that program will expire in, let's see, it's June of 2024. And that's why we've got this legislation we've been working to extend it 2 more years to June of 2026. And right now we can do up to 5 projects for a total of $200 million. One project, we can go up to $100 million on one project. So, you know, that's what our parameters are right now. The new legislation will allow no more than 3 projects a year. It'll extend it 2 more years as a pilot program, and no single project can be over $250 million, which is we would never get close to that anyway, but that provides all the flexibility we could ever hope for. So it's going to be really good for the future of that. And just as a reminder, construction manager and general contractor, that delivery method is actually where, well, we're fixing to award one just here in a second. But what we do is we go out for requests for proposals before design really begins on a project. And we get a construction manager to come on board, a contractor to sit down with us and work with us throughout the whole design process to make it the best design possible. Then at the end of that design, that construction manager is given the opportunity to get the work if their estimate is within 10% of an independent cost estimate, so they can get that work without it going to normal bidding, you know, design, bid, build, advertising for bids. If we can't come to an agreement on a cost, if we think their cost is more than what is a good value for the state, then we'll just go out for bids and do it the traditional way. So far we've done 2 projects in the Highway 10 project at Cantrell and Rodney Parham and 430. That was a construction manager general contractor project. And then we have a project up in Fayetteville that's ongoing, and we're in the middle of it, and it's going well too. It's the Martin Luther King interchange, a very complex project, and that's what this is so good about. This particular delivery method is great because if it's complex with a lot of outside stakeholders like utility companies, a lot of right-of-way businesses involved, high traffic, managing a lot of traffic through an urban area, there's a lot of things that we look at that would lend itself well to this particular delivery method. So it's really been a positive thing for the department, and the contracting industry, as they've gotten more and more familiar with it, are becoming a big fan as well. So we're excited about it. So that will lead me into this next slide. Back in the fall of 22, we requested proposals from our contractors to participate as a construction manager on the Highway 5 widening from Bryant to the Pulaski County line. So we received 4 responses in that request for proposals, and those were evaluated, and then we brought everyone in and did individual interviews with each contractor. And then we set up an evaluation team of mid-managers that look at it and participate in all that. And their recommendation, they score each contractor, and their recommendation for construction manager for this Highway 5 project is Weaver Bailey Contractors Incorporated from Conway, Arkansas. They did an excellent job in preparing their proposal. They did an excellent job in their interview. They're extremely excited about participating in this delivery method and building this project. So I would entertain or ask for a motion to allow us to start negotiations to enter into a contract with Weaver Bailey.
Do we got a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's approved.
Excellent, and I'd just like to thank the other people that sent in a proposal. They did a good job. I would like to congratulate Weaver Bailey. Excited about working with them in the future, and looking forward to more construction manager general contracting projects in the future once we get that legislation in place. Now, around the department, we started this in what did we do in our January meet? Oh yeah, we did audit. We did an internal audit. Well, this commission meeting, I'd like to give you an overview of our Arkansas Highway Police. And I've asked Jeff Holmes if he would come up and do that for us. Jeff is our Chief of Arkansas Highway Police, and that was effective December of 2021. He's a graduate of the University of Arkansas Criminal Justice Institute's Arkansas Leader Program and School of Law Enforcement Supervision. He holds a senior certificate in law enforcement from the Commission on Law Enforcement Standards and Training. He began his career with RDOT in 1993 as a patrol officer and he's moved up the ranks, being promoted over the years to the different levels in the Arkansas Highway Police until he reached his current role as chief in December of 2021. And I just want to say he's a proven leader. He's doing a phenomenal job. I'm so thankful for him to step up and take on this role because it's a very, very important role for RDOT, and he does an excellent job. And so I'm going to kick it off to you, Chief. I thought he was going to give me a hug for those kind words.
I was going to. Thank you, Director, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. I can work this. I want to give you a brief overview of the Highway Police. The Highway Police was created in 1929 by Act 299. Later became known the State Road Patrol Act, and it was 20 state patrol officers that were put under the State Highway Commission with the purpose of protecting the highways. In 1979, our name was changed to the Arkansas Highway Police. And since then, we've grown to 139 sworn officers, and while that's a far cry from 20 officers, it's still well short of our allotment. Currently, we're 69 officers short of what our allotment of 208. We work in 5 districts in our special services section here in Little Rock that supports our office. We have 40 civilian personnel, which includes our staff in our office and our permit section. We operate statewide, and a lot of you may not know the highway police districts, but each one of our districts encompasses 2 RDOT districts. Each district has a captain that oversees the operations in it, and statewide. We currently have 10 weigh station facilities. The full-time ones are at Alma on I-40 east and west, Hope on I-30 east and west, and then the Bridgeport weigh station, which is inbound on 55 at West Memphis, and Riverside, which is inbound on 40 in West Memphis. We have 4 part-time stations, which are open part-time due to staffing constraints. Those are at Springdale, north and south on 49, and then Lehigh, just outside of West Memphis, eastbound on 40, and in Marion, which is 55 southbound, just north of West Memphis. These are some pictures from our weigh station. Top left is Alma. Top right would be the Hope weigh station. This is one of our larger inbound stations in West Memphis. This is on 55. And as you can see in the background is an inspection bay, which would be this right, bottom right. And this allows our officers to actually go under trucks and inspect them, where they don't have to go on creepers. This is 2 of those facilities were built at Riverside and Bridgeport, the stations in West Memphis, using ACCEPT funds, and they are a great, great help to our officers and really help them do their job. We also have 86 patrol units. This is one of our new Tahoes. We have 86 that patrol statewide. This is the current map of their assignments. And in recent months, we've started making a conscious effort to move some of the units from the real rural counties down to the high truck concentration areas on interstates, and to focus more on where the truck traffic is instead of rural. We still patrol all 75 counties and 24 hours a day. Additionally, the Highway Police has a permit section here in Little Rock. It's a fantastic group of people that are in charge of routing oversized and overweight loads all across the highways of the state. They do an outstanding job. Last year, they issued 54,795 permits and collected just over $15.5 million in fees. Of those, highway police officers out in the field checked 17,000 of them and found 980 violations. I'm going to talk briefly about some of the missions of the Highway Police. First and foremost, it's always been about size and weight enforcement and protecting the infrastructure in the state's roads and bridges. That's why we were created, and that's our main focus. In these pictures here, this is a portable scale that all our patrol units carry in the back, and they can weigh trucks on the side of the road or in weigh pads all over the state. Most units have 2 to 4 of those. The picture on the right is what we call our semi-portable scale, and many of you might have saw it in the legislative orientation. It was set up out here. It's pulled by a pickup truck and can be deployed anywhere and allows us to weigh a lot of trucks more easily. The bottom picture is obviously 2 officers measuring axle spacing on a triaxle. Last year, our officers detected just short of 6,000 violations. In conjunction with that, we weighed over 2.5 million trucks last year, and in the citations we wrote for being overweight, courts assessed a little over $500,000 in penalties for those, which was transmitted back to the department. The second part of our mission I want to talk about is in 1989, the legislature abolished the Arkansas Transportation Safety Agency, and its duties and responsibilities were transferred to the Highway Police Division. Part of that was the performance of motor carrier inspections, which is basically, as you can see in these pictures, officers check trucks to make sure they're safe. This officer is underneath the truck measuring brake travel. This one is in the back making sure the load is properly secured. And this is checking air pressure on a tire and making sure the lug nuts are all secure. So that is motor carrier safety enforcement, and by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, in conjunction with them, we perform these inspections. Last year we checked over 2.6 million, screened 2.6 million commercial vehicles at our weigh stations on the roadside, and did just shy of 40,000 mix-up inspections. Of those inspections, over 5,700 vehicles had such extreme safety defects that they were required to be placed out of service, which means they were parked on the side of the road and could not be moved till they were fixed. Likewise, 3,600 drivers had a violation that required the same them to be placed out of service. During those inspections, we detected approximately 47,000 safety violations. The next part that I want to talk about is assisting our maintenance crews. The Highway Police has had great relationships with our area maintenance supervisors in each county that we work. Whether it's ice and snow, temporary road closures to repair a damaged guardrail, temporary road closures to repair emergency potholes. We work in conjunction with them every day and do what is needed. And last year we spent over 6,000 hours doing just that. In addition to that is working in our work zones, whether it's to assist with lane transitions, provide blue lights when they're working in certain dangerous areas, or as you can see in the bottom left, this is part of the TIMS program. This officer here is giving warning to slowing traffic. Many times if you see those officers on the side of the shoulder and they're facing the wrong way, they're facing you with their lights on, they're warning you that traffic is slowing, and it could be an accident, a work zone. We call it queue protection, which a queue is the slowing of the traffic. We spent over 8,246 hours, and that is also part of the Slow Down, Phone Down campaign, working enforcement in our work zones. And speaking of TIMS, just a quick update on the traffic incident management system that we partnership with Arkansas State Police. To date, we've trained over 10,000 first responders. And finally, funding. The highway police is one of the few things that we're self-sufficient. Our budget is a little over $19 million, and we bring in $15.5 million in oversized and overweight penalties, or correct, a little over $500,000 in overweight fine penalties. On the mix-up inspections, we're reimbursed by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration to perform those for the time and equipment we've used to perform those, and they reimbursed the department $6.4 million, which totals almost $22.5 million on a $19.3 million budget. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions.
Chief Holmes?
Yes, sir.
Is all the permitting for oversized loads handled electronically? And how long does it usually take for somebody to get a permit for an oversized load?
Depending on the size of the load, obviously real heavy loads have to be sent to heavy bridge for clearance. But envelope vehicle that's within certain dimensions and within axle spacings, that's kind of like an envelope vehicle, the system issue it instantly. It analyzes the route and can instantly issue it.
So I guess, how long does that process take? I just remember back 2 or 4 years ago or so, there was conversation about being able to get these permits in a timely manner when it involved grain trucks, for instance, or different kind of agricultural products. And is that running smoothly now, or
Yes, sir.
will it ever?
Yes, sir. You very seldom hear any complaints. There is a process on the agricultural, but we get on it and do what's needed to be done and issue the permit.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Chief, I just want to highlight too, even though, you know, in your presentation, your main responsibility, of course, is inspections, but just want to remind people on the assistance y'all give to other agencies and what an excellent job you do and how proud we are of the work that your department is doing. Also wanted to ask you, I know we had done how recruitment is going, and I know we had, you mentioned the shortfalls in some of your staffing. We did some work to make some of your salaries more competitive. What else can we be doing, and how is that effort going?
We've been working with Dave Parker in public information. We've done some recruiting videos, done a big social media push, and the response has been kind of overwhelming. We actually have more applications today than we've had in a long time, so it's looking promising. So.
Thank you. Please pass along the appreciation from the whole commission here on the job you and your team do. We really are fortunate to have you guys out there on the road.
Thank you. I will.
Okay, so this is the first meeting in 2023. So as tradition, we always do a look back on 2022 and then look forward to 2023. And so Parker and his team have put together a really cool looking back video, so I'll play that for you now. The definition of El Dorado is a place of fabulous opportunity. It's an honor to hold our first celebration of the CAP here today.
31 promises made and 31 kept. The Arkansas Department of Transportation was very proud to say that in 2022 when Arkansas voters approved the temporary half-cent sales tax move in 2012. Revenue from that allowed the department to create the first Connecting Arkansas program, better known as the CAP, a collection of 31 construction projects. In 2022, the department held CAP events, Tip of the Cap, first in El Dorado and later in Jonesboro, to thank the voters and the legislators for their support. 2 more CAP events are being planned for 2023. Another big event happened in Fort Smith in July. The Good Roads Foundation and RDOT leaders held a large-scale 2-day event with hundreds attending to discuss the Interstate 49 expansion and what it could mean to the region. And in October of 2022, ground was broken on the 13 miles of Interstate 49 from Alma to Barling. The project was small, but symbolic of the Commission's commitment, and it provided an opportunity to hold a public event to thank Governor Hutchinson for his efforts to ensure Issue 1, the continuation of the half-cent sales tax, was successful. The success of Issue 1 resulted in the availability of future funding, and it allowed RDOT to move forward with future I-49.
We've been talking about this for a long time, and some of it has occurred, but we are at a really good point today where we're doing this 13.7 mile segment. Correct me on that.
In 2022, there were a total of 231 projects awarded, totaling more than $1.1 billion. Some of the major projects from last year include the following.
My job is dangerous enough, I shouldn't have to worry about distracted drivers.
If you pick up your phone, it could cost me my life.
Safety will always be a core value for RDOT. In February of last year, the department unveiled its Slow Down, Phone Down Work Zone Safety campaign. Thanks to help from an Arkansas State Police grant, the public got to see a series of work zone safety ads aimed at reminding drivers to slow down and put down their phones. From television to digital billboards to social media, slow down, phone down was everywhere. Another great safety feature was the new Arkansas State Police 4-digit speed dial feature, STAR ASP. RDOT was happy to support the campaign by creating and posting more than 200 large blue reflective signs. The STAR ASP feature is for non-emergency calls or reports. Also in 2022, the department was able to help state police with their new traffic incident management system, which is a program aimed at removing accidents from highways and restore them to normal travel as quickly and safely as possible. RDOT donated $2 million to help build new training classrooms.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Parker, your Public Information Officer for the Arkansas Department of Transportation.
RDOT's social media presence surged in 2022. The two Twitter channels now have an audience of more than 63,000 followers. At MyRDOT gained nearly 4,000 new users. RDOT's Facebook page, which launched in January, had an immediate impact, now standing at more than 13,000 followers. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram all help provide even more ways for RDOT to keep the public informed. IAJA and NEVI, two popular acronyms in 2022. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act will increase traditional federal funding levels by 30%. The National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, NEVI, really seemed to take off in 2022. Arkansas's Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Deployment Plan was approved by the Federal Highway Administration in September. Much more to come on both of these topics. Key personnel moves in 2022 included the hiring of Maggie Garrett as RDOT's Chief Internal Auditor. Derek Wyatt was promoted to the Office of State Maintenance Engineer, and he was replaced by Tony Evans, who was promoted to the position of District 6 Engineer. And Paul Tinsley was named the State Materials Engineer.
Great meeting. Thank you very much. The meeting will be adjourned.
2022 also meant thank you and farewell to two very important department figures. Chairman Robert Moore finished out his 10-year term on the Arkansas Highway Commission, and Deputy Director and Chief Operating Officer Randy Ort wrapped up a 35-year career with RDOT. Finally, in 2022, in September, a big win for RDOT. A team comprised of 12 of our most skilled operators traveled to Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the 18th annual Southeastern Regional Equipment Operators Rodeo. The weather was very difficult due to a passing hurricane, but it was our RDOT team that came home as champions. The 7th championship since the first competition was held in 2003. 2022 was another exciting, challenging, and rewarding year for all of RDOT. We look forward to 2023.
So, great year behind us and a great year ahead of us. I'll go talk a little bit about what we have in store for us. First of all, Commissioner David Hake is now on our commission. We welcome you into the family and look forward to working with you and getting to know you and tapping into all your wisdom and all those things. So we're excited to have you. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders selected Mr. Hake because of his lifetime of public service, community involvement, and his strong leadership record. We thank you for agreeing to step into this role because the pay's not real good. But would you like to say a few words? I think it's funny that you have the story that one of your first jobs was at RDOT making more than you're making now as a commissioner. Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned that my first paying job, I worked for my parents, and that was room and board, as a lot of us have done. But my very first paying job right out of high school, and I'm going to date myself, which was 1967, was working on a survey crew at the Highway Department in Miller County. We got paid, well, technically we were all salaried, but they gave us $50 a week, $1.25 an hour. And now, this many years later, I'm back, and I got a decrease in pay. So much for previous work experience. But anyway, I'm glad to be here, and I'd like to say thank you, first of all, to the governor for believing in me. And the other thing is, in my brief tenure here, all I have met is just new friends that are willing to help, that will answer my questions, which I have more and more. I had some for today, but I promised to shut up. And but anyway, it's a very good family, And so I'm proud to be a part of it because you all have welcomed me so well. So in that, thank you very much. And that's it.
Thank you. We look forward to the next 10 years, for sure.
Rest of my life.
Okay. July 2023, we're going to kick off the Renew Arkansas Highways program. As everyone in this room knows, in 2020, when Issue 1 approved taking the word temporary off that half-cent sales tax and making it a stable source of revenue, and that revenue will start to be collected in July this year. And so that will be the start of the Renew Arkansas Highways program. It's going to be fabulous. We're going to make some great progress on our roads, and I'm looking forward to that and getting that well underway. Some of the major projects we expect to be completed in 2023 include Highway 10 from Pleasant Ridge to Pleasant Valley Drive in Pulaski County, Highway 7 in Garland County from Highway 70 East to Highway 7 North, I-30, Pulaski and Saline Counties, the Sevier Street to Geyer Springs concrete pavement preservation. I don't know how many of you have noticed that, but I've gotten great compliments on that project because they're doing it at night. People just get up the next day and say, what happened? The road, you know, it's just continuing to get better, so appreciate that project. We've got projects on Highway 82, I-40, Highway 89, 270, 40, 70, and 278, and then various highways for that specialized bridge deck rehab. But a lot of projects that are nearing completion, so we look forward to those. In 2023, we have a letting schedule, project schedule totaling $1.2 billion. You can see it's statewide, and that map shows you where all the projects are. That $1.2 billion worth of work will be let under 216 state jobs. Some of the major projects we are scheduled to let to contract is the Springdale Bypass on Highway 612, future 412 when it's all completed. Highway 67 in Lone Oak County, that's Highway 5 to Highway 89. Let's see, we got the Northwest Arkansas National Airport Access, or XNA, that we're going to be letting the contract next year. Vice Chairman, I know you're excited about that. And just several projects that you can read on the screen: the Greenwood Bypass, work on 49, also on I-40, and 270, 365 in Pine Bluff, and then more work on I-30. We continue to try to keep the interstates in the state of good repair. We did those 2 interstate rehabilitation programs where we sold the bonds to get ahead and get the interstates in good shape, and then the commission has allowed us to continue to invest to keep that investment in that state of good repair by doing the system preservation we need to do to keep those improvements going into the future. 30 Crossing is going well. 65% of the work has been complete. More work over the next year will realize getting the bridge. So right now the eastbound portion of the Arkansas River Bridge is completed and traffic is on the eastbound side. The westbound side of the new bridge is being demolished and will be constructed over the next year. In March of this year, the 6th Street overpass will be open to traffic. So there's a lot that will be going on. The estimated completion date for all the work is in mid-2025, but you're going to see some huge progress in this next year on our 30 Crossing project, and it's going really, really well. We talked a little bit about Highway 10 already, but there will be a big celebration on that highway. We hope to open it to cut a ribbon on that project this spring, early summer. And it's going to be a large celebration because this was one of Tom Schick, late Tom Schick's Highway Commission Chairman Tom Schick. It was one of his legacy projects. It was one of his projects that he championed, and he was heavily involved in. So we're going to celebrate the completion of that project with his family, and I hope that you all can attend that. We've had two Connecting Arkansas program tip of the cap celebrations, one in El Dorado, one in Jonesboro, and we plan to have one in Central Arkansas and one in Northwest Arkansas. We've got the date for the Northwest Arkansas one. It's March 9th. Looking forward to that. Hope you can attend, and we're still finalizing the details for our Central Arkansas one. Already talked a little bit about our GovQA, but that's going to be really, really positive for the public once we roll that out, and the public has this one-stop shop. They can go onto our website and they can enter in any question that they have, all of those things, and we can be sure that, and if as questions come in various parts of the department, we'll enter it into the system. So we'll have that enterprise system of all the inquiries that come from the public. Our Slow Down, Phone Down safety campaign will continue. As you saw on the video, we've made some great progress in that the work zone crash rate has dropped since we started that campaign, and we plan to do a second year of that campaign. Also, I've been working closely with our contracting industry to find other ways to make our work zone safer. We're setting up actually a little committee with contractors and RDOT employees, and we're going to sit down and we're going to think about what are some other things we can do to improve the safety in our work zones, such as adding a bid item to allow the contractor to get off-duty police to be in these work zones as much as they would like to, but it help to offset the cost of that, because our, as Chief Holmes mentioned, they help with that, but that's not their primary mission, and we're short-handed, so we can't commit to being in every work zone all the time, but to allow the contractor to hire off-duty police to do that function for us. Also, other things that we're looking at is maybe speed limits within the construction zone, creating those safe, spending a little bit more money on maintenance of traffic so that workers, especially on high-speed roadways, are protected where they work by putting those concrete barriers up. Other things, we're just looking at everything we can think of, because it's really a difficult job to be out there on those interstates and high-volume routes, working day in and day out. So we're doing all we can to make our work zones as safe as possible. In order to deliver the Renew Arkansas Highways program, we have a reorg of RDOT that we hope, as we go through the budget process, our operation budget, when we get that done, that will allow us to move forward to do the changes that we propose to make us successful in the future to deliver the Renew Arkansas Highways program. That will include shrinking Northwest Arkansas and Central Arkansas districts because they're so urbanized and they have another set of needs than the rest of the state does, and adding that 11th district to have good coverage across the state. That's going to take a couple of years to do, but we're going to, as we move forward in 2023, we'll start the process. So I'll stop there for a minute and see if there's any questions, any comments about 2023 and what's ahead. Well, that's good. I think that means we're covering all our bases. Yes. Okay, so upcoming events. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be speaking at the North Little Rock Chamber of Commerce. Marie's going to be there for support. I appreciate that. On Friday, we're going to do a groundbreaking for the Jonesboro Eastern Bypass. Chairman Farmer will be speaking at that event, and along with several dignitaries. We have the Northwest Arkansas CAP event that's been scheduled on March 9th. I mentioned that. I have a PE board meeting on March 16th down at the Capitol. They're going to have a Texarkana Chamber of Commerce Day, and they've asked me to come and speak about highway projects in that area. Commissioner Hake, you might want to attend that with me. think I did it last year. It's really a nice event, and so. Okay, thank you. I've been invited to I've been invited to talk to a group. I'm not too sure about this group, but I've agreed to do it. I don't know if you remember Judy Robinson. She was our chief internal auditor for several years, and she's since retired, and she belongs to this group and asked if I'd come speak to their sisterhood. So I'm going to do that on a Saturday, April 1st. And then April 2nd through 4th, I'm going to a Sashto Pier Exchange in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's what's the main things on our calendar coming up. Now I'll move on to other business and discussion. First of all, I want to make a shout out to RDOT's maintenance crews and highway police and all those involved in the winter weather events we had, in end of January, 1st of February. They did a phenomenal job. It was a wave, if you'll remember. You get through with one and another one would come through the state, and it was a lot of hard work. We put our crews on 12-hour shifts, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. 24 hours, there's people out there working on the roads. They really did a great job, and I'm so appreciative of them. So appreciative to the commission for giving us the tools that we need to be able to be successful in these winter events with additional equipment, additional maintenance personnel, and the support that you give our employees. Thank you for that. It feels good to get a pat on the back, but you're only as good as the tools you're given to do your work with. So we really appreciate the commission and their commitment to making sure we have the tools that we need, and we really appreciate our employees that get out there. They get so weary, after 3 or 4 days of it, and it starts a day or two before the weather even gets there, because they're out there pre-treating the roads. So after a solid week of 12 on, 12 off, you get pretty weary, but they don't complain. They just keep on moving forward, one foot in front of the other, and they get the job done, and I appreciate them. Another thing our employees have done on their own is do a food drive every year, and this year they really broke all records as far as collecting food for food banks across the state. It started with our Transportation Planning and Policy Division, and then a friendly competition grew from that, and so several divisions partook in that competition, and we were able to bust our goal wide open and provide food for, my notes say, Second Chance Youth Ranch, the Shack Community Mission Center, Revive Valonia, the Watershed, and other church food banks. So proud of our employees and their public service and what they do outside of their regular everyday job. Our STIP was approved. Woohoo! I don't know how much for our staff. That is such a heavy lift, a very, very intense work intense process. And when you get to the end and you get that final approval from Federal Highway and Federal Transit, it's a good feeling. We try to do something to celebrate, but I can't say how much I appreciate the hard work of our staff putting that STIP together, and it goes across all branches, but the main work is accomplished in our planning branch with Jared Wiley as the lead and the leader of all those efforts. And I know you all know that because he's met with each and every one of you to go over the projects and help us put together a STIP that's meaningful and makes sense and will move Arkansas forward. We have been, or some of our consultant agencies received an award for work that they did for the department, which is HNTB for our Arkansas well, I asked them to tell me what EBID stood for. I've got that here somewhere. Help me out. What's EBID stand for? Okay, electric vehicle plan. but that's not what he. Anyway, it's really a good plan. Oh, here it is. I found it. Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Demonstration Program. So HNDB came to the table and helped us with that, which was a requirement before we can spend the first dollar of those federal monies for charging stations. We had to have a plan. And they put together with, we worked together with them, and they put together a plan for us. And that plan received a lot of accolades as far as how well thought out it was and how good it was from the Federal Highway Administration. So it was really a great experience, and then they've received an ACEC, or American Consultant Engineering Company Award, for their work on that. And then Micro Baker International received an award for their work on the Palarm Creek Bridge replacement. So congratulations to those engineering companies, and glad that our projects helped to get you an award. So you just can knock something off our bill for that. Anyway, Perpetual Pavement Awards, we were fortunate to get those this year. We've got 2 of those, as you can see on the screen. And for some reason, I have no notes on those, so but we're happy to get those awards. Very happy. 3 categories. Okay. Well, well, more on that next. I tell you what, we'll do this again. We'll do this yes, I will. That'll be good. Okay, so today we are celebrating, and actually I think in 1953 on February 23rd, tomorrow, was when the Mack-Blackwell, or Amendment 42, went into effect. So that is the 70th anniversary for the Highway Commission. And it's pretty impressive to think about where we've been and where we're at today. Just for a brief history, the first commission was created in 1913, so 110 years ago. But those first 40 years, between 1913 and 1953, they were pretty chaotic. There was a lot of political input into the commission. There were 9 legislative acts that changed the makeup of the commission. And in 1913, automobiles were just getting started, but by 1953, everybody had a car, at least one car in their family. Automobiles had just taken off, and everyone was wanting a nice, really good network of roads to drive those cars on, but they weren't being satisfied. The public wasn't. So they commissioned a study to look into what were the problems and how could they improve the way the roads were being built in Arkansas. And because of that study, an amendment was proposed by Senator Mack and Senator Blackwell that became Amendment 42. And it's the structure of the commission that we have today, and that's a 5-member commission, 10-year terms. It's a revolving appointment, so whoever the sitting governor is will appoint a new commissioner and one will roll off. So in this case, Chairman Robert Moore rolled off, and Commissioner David Hake was appointed by Governor Sanders. Amendment 42 was approved by a margin of 75% of the votes, so a huge amount of support to remove highways and to remove the Highway Commission from political influence. And the Highway Commission has served the state of Arkansas so well in the last 70 years, and that's apparent when you think about we were the first state to complete our interstate system, the original interstate system. We've had several acts that we have put together, several programs, such as the Rural Road Program, the Highway Improvement Program, the 2 interstate rehabilitation programs that took our interstates. While they were the first to be constructed, or our first state in the nation to get those interstates in place, they wore out the quickest. And so those interstate rehabilitation programs allowed us to catch up. And then the commission, as they saw fit, is continuing to put money into our interstates to keep that progress going. Then we had the Connecting Arkansas program. That's been a huge success. And because of that success, the Renew Arkansas highways program is coming up. So extremely successful in the public thinking that we're doing a good job and continuing to give us the confidence to move forward with our highway system. So I just want to congratulate our commission. All the commissioners before have been, and you stand on their shoulders, and we continue to go forward. And it's been, for me, as a 39-year employee, I can't imagine having any other type of structure or administration for the department. It's really been a joy to work for such a strong commission that has Arkansas's best interest at heart. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your service. And it is a public service because we joke about it, but it is voluntary. And you come on board and you know how important it is, how important the state's system is, highway system, and you volunteer your time and you share your wisdom and you share your expertise and you help guide and direct the department, and you've done an excellent job over 70 years. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And with that, I will kick it back to you, Chairman, to take over.
Thank you, Lori. This indeed is a very special milestone for the commission. We've actually got the framed amendment over here with pictures of Senator Mack and Senator Blackwell. And just wanted to say first, it's the 70th anniversary, like I said, Mack Blackwell, that went into effect February 23rd, 1953, that Director Tudor just covered. We also have another significant milestone today we're going to recognize, though. This year's the 40th anniversary of our recognized relationship with Arkansas Good Roads Foundation. It all started in 1983 with a certificate of appreciation presented to Arkansas Good Roads for their hard work in educating legislators, county judges, and city officials and community leaders throughout the state in an effort to rally support for an additional road funding program. That one didn't succeed, but 2 years later, another one did. And on a personal note, before my father was a highway commissioner appointed in 1985, he served on the board of directors of Arkansas Good Roads. So they worked closely with the legislature and the department to help lay the foundation to get the Rural Road Act of 1985 passed, which was out of the mud. That was a lot of the secondary roads, the county roads that we acquired. They got those roads paved. So that was an effort right there, example of the impact that Good Roads had even that long ago. So it only seems appropriate that 40 years later, the State Highway Commission should show their appreciation to Good Roads again with a certificate of appreciation for their hard work in educating the voters about Issue 1. Of course, Issue 1 generated a significant and permanent source of revenue that will begin later this year. And Good Roads' hard work was crucial in the success of obtaining adequate funding for the roads. So I'm going to ask Joe Quinn to come up here. Let me read this. I'll try to speak loudly so everybody can hear me. Certificate of Appreciation. Whereas in 1983, the Arkansas State Highway Commission presented the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation with a certificate of appreciation for their efforts in obtaining funding for highways. And whereas since 1983, Arkansas State Highway Commission, Arkansas Department of Transportation, and Arkansas Good Roads Foundation have fostered a strong partnership. And whereas the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation has been a visible and credible voice on behalf of the Commission, on the Arkansas State Highway Commission, and the Arkansas Department of Transportation. And whereas as a result of the excellent and tireless efforts of the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation, Amendment 101 funds will begin in July 2023 and will provide a stable source of revenue for Arkansas transportation system. Now, therefore, the Arkansas State Highway Commission and the Arkansas Department of Transportation express our deepest appreciation to the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation for their advocacy, education efforts, and support in obtaining funding for highways. And it's signed by all the commissioners and board.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I said to my wife recently, the coolest thing about the infrastructure world, everybody's really nice. And we live in this kind of angry, strident world, but people in the infrastructure space all sort of respectfully make their point, and we all sort of get along, and I think it's nice. Pretty ironic, your dad was involved in '83, the last time this was presented. I would also say Lori's team, the executive staff, is incredible to work with. Really just great people, good at what they do. We had 1.5 million Facebook impressions last year telling the story. So many of your slides and agenda items today are about how you tell the story. Fort Smith was great, and we're going to go to Jonesboro this July and do the same type of event. We used to sort of do that, each orange barrel equals X number of jobs per mile. It's a much more sophisticated story now. Dave has reinvented how the department communicates, and we're proud to kind of fly alongside that effort. And I think the shift from individual ribbon cuttings to doing big regional reminders of how the work creates jobs and makes life better for people, all of that has sort of changed. So thank you for this. You're fabulous to work with, and you make it fun. And on behalf of my board, we appreciate you. Thank you for you and your team, and our members who fund much of this work are in the audience today. So thank you. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Just want to thank Joe and the Arkansas Good Roads again for 40 years of support and advocacy for the commission, the department, and the Arkansas State Highways. So thank you. If you'll indulge me another minute or two, I just want to kind of take a look in the whole where we are today as a department. And we've covered the past, we've covered the future, but you know, we're here to celebrating Amendment 42, the 70th anniversary, and we're recognizing our 40-year partnership with Good Roads. I just want to point out the many good things that are going on with the department over the last several years. We've seen, you know, as we've talked about, we've seen 2 successful highway campaigns, both receiving at least 55% of the vote, with the original cap coming to a close, having met all of our 31 project promises. The Renew Arkansas Highways program is about to begin, improving over 7,000 miles of highways, 1,100 bridges in the first 10 years alone. It's also going to enable us, RDOT, to continue making significant improvements to our major highways connecting the state and the country. In addition to our excellent director and senior staff and our dedicated employees across the state of Arkansas, we're fortunate to have a strong supportive group of stakeholders, including Good Roads, our county Association of Counties, Municipal League, trade groups. We're very fortunate to have that group all working in concert to better our highways. We've improved safety with median cables, enhanced lane striping and reflectors, added rumble strips to center as well as outside lanes, and our very effective slow down, phone down campaign, I think, has made a huge difference. We've made and continue to make significant upgrades in our technology, our website, social media, iDrive, and various software packages which allowed us to improve efficiencies and transparency. We've beefed up our inclement weather, our inspection, our heavy bridge staffing and equipment. And we've done all this while keeping our administrative costs down. So we do have a lot to celebrate, and hope that we all can, or everybody here can join us in this celebration upon adjournment. We're going to have cake and punch. So who can't like that? But does any other commissioner have anything to add? Or Lori, do you have anything?
No, I'm ready to eat some cake.
Well, this is my favorite because we're going to eat dessert before lunch. So if there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So let me see. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Where's the cake?